Thank you for listening to SPN, the Savage Podcasting Network.
You're listening to The Stephen Savage Show on the Savage Podcasting Network. And now, here's your host, film and television director, Stephen Savage.
Thank you, Nicole. How you doing, everybody? Savage here with you for yet another episode of The Stephen Savage Show, the official podcast of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema, coming to you, as always, from Cranium Wheel Studios at Chateau Esteban in the beautiful alpine village of Idlewild, California, just a couple hours east of Los Angeles, but a world away at nearly 6,000 feet high atop majestic Mount San Jacinto and overlooking the great Coachella Valley. If you hear some nature noise going on during this podcast, that's just because it's a really warm day, and I've got the studio doors wide open into nature, and the studio is right in the middle of a national forest, so you might hear some birds and some weird little creatures once in a while, but just bear with us. As a way of addressing all of the direct messaging we've been receiving, inquiring as to what guests we have coming on the podcast in the coming weeks, here's a quick breakdown. Let me get my notes here. I think I have, Oscar and Golden Globe nominated actress Ann Archer. She's going to be returning for her second visit to the show to talk more about her career and her job as the Idlewild Cinema Festival's grand jury head since 2017, actually. My great friend Irene Bedard, the voice and model of the classic Disney character Pocahontas, will be in here to speak about her great career, including her new Netflix series, American Primeval, among other things. So we're looking forward to that. And my great friend of 2 decades, Oscar and BAFTA-winning screenwriter and producer Leslie Patterson, will be around to tell us what she's got going on next after her major success with the Netflix blockbuster All Quiet on the Western Front. And I'm going to do my best to get all of this in before I put the podcast on hold for a couple months as I head off to shoot my newest feature film, Monkey Grip. So stay tuned for all of that. And before I introduce our Zoom-in guest for today, let's take a moment to give a shout-out to our local Idlewild sponsors who display such strong support for the Idlewild Film Festival each and every year. As you know, the Idlewild Festival is not corporate sponsored, but completely independent in both content and execution. And we're happy to be talking about our main lodging sponsor, the Talk Eats Pines Retreat, an amazing facility for weekend stays, romantic getaways, conferences, weddings, family reunions, just about any gathering you can think of, both large and small. Faro Restaurant, the best Italian food in Idlewild and anywhere else on the planet for that matter, with your hosts, Frank and Lori Farrell, who've also been festival sponsors from year one. Faro, it's Italian elevated. And to our home base, the Rustic Theater, our theater home since the festival's first season 17 years ago, where owners Gail and Graham Sutherland offer up first-run Hollywood movies, independent films, live music, and so much more in the beautiful historic Rustic Theater in Idlewild, California. And last but not least, La Casita Restaurant, simply the best Mexican food around. La Casita, an Idlewild Film Festival favorite. Okay, let's kick things off for this episode. Last week I had on the show one of 2 lead actresses appearing in my upcoming feature film production, Monkey Grip, Kobe Connell, who called in from her home in New York City. So today I'm hoping to bring on, she's actually here, I swear. I'm honored to bring on the other young lady appearing in the film in a lead role, taking on the character of Scotland Yard Special Officer Moya McCord in Monkey Grip. She's in fact the 5th actor from the film I've interviewed on this show, so that's been really fun getting to talk to all the people I'm about to work with. And she's zooming in today from even farther away than New York City, actually. She's an actor, writer, producer, entrepreneur, having created a company called Access America, an organization that helps Irish actors and artists such as herself find their stride here in the States. And you'll, of course, know her from her many TV and independent film roles, such as her stint on the hit series Harry Wild, where she starred alongside the great Jane Seymour for an episode, I believe. And she's dabbled in the world of gaming as well, providing character voices for the popular action-adventure game Red Dead Redemption 2. And she's now based in Los Angeles, except when she's acting or developing films or traveling around other parts of the world, as she is right now. And I was lucky enough to catch her for a short break in her travels. So zooming in today from some sandy white beach in the country of Spain, allow me to bring on, before she disappears on yet another adventure, the somewhat elusive Claire Bermingham. Claire, how are you, love?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for that amazing introduction, Stephen, and thank you for having me.
Of course, like I said, I've been wanting to have everybody on. I just had to put it all together, and it's great for you to be able to, being so far away, that you're able to find time for me at a time when I don't have to get up at like 3 a.m. to do an interview. That's always
Absolutely. I'm like a leprechaun. They're hard to catch.
yeah, you're not. I mean, I misspoke. You're not really all that elusive. You did zoom in for a reading rehearsal a few weeks back with myself and lead actor Monkey Grip Daniel Lund. But your Instagram feed finds you in so many exotic places. It does give the illusion that you're hard to pin down. So anyway, I appreciate you coming on the podcast today.
Oh, absolutely. Instagram versus reality, I'd say.
So why, just real quick, what took you to Spain this time around?
Well, actually, you had mentioned Access America,
Mm-hmm.
my company that I founded, as you explained, where I basically break down the process to work as an artist in America and also the industry over there. So I recently took that, expanded into Spanish territories and
Great.
presented it in Madrid. And also, to be honest, I've wanted to explore living in Spain, because I used to be, full time in LA,
Mm-hmm.
and after achieving my citizenship, and then of course COVID happened, everything changed. The industry changed. My personal situation changed. So I was in a position where I can be elsewhere and then still work in America and fly in. And Also, we lost my dad a few years ago, so I like to be somewhere that's closer to my family.
Mm-hmm.
Ireland's a bit cold, so I don't want to be there all the time. But Spain is a good stomping ground otherwise. So my mom had just come out to visit me here, and if I'm writing or working on pre-production stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
can work remotely from here. And then if I'm working in Ireland, it's just a 2-hour flight. So it's pretty peachy, and they have nice food and wine and sunshine.
The perks. That's funny.
Her, her.
It is funny how, though, when a family or someone, you know, is has a family tragedy thrown in their lap, like you're talking about your dad passing. It's good to be around family. It's good to have that support system. I was just talking about my friend Leslie Patterson, who, she and her husband were riding high on her success, winning a bunch of BAFTAs and Oscars for All Quiet on the Western Front. And then Simon, her husband, right after that came down with, he was diagnosed with a very aggressive cancer, and he died a few months after that. And it was just like, wow, everybody that knew him was shaken because he was so great. But, Leslie retreated to Scotland, where she's originally from. And I think that's the only way to have it. And it's nice to be able to, have a support system in your family. So good for you.
Yeah, I remember you sharing that. I think when we had just started talking at the end of last year, and I remember you sharing that, and yeah, it really puts everything in perspective, I guess, and obviously our careers are our passion and what drives us, but also our family. Is so important, and
Yeah.
especially, I mean, for me, I'm super close with my family, and they've always been really, really supportive. So yeah, it just kind of um, makes you realize, where I guess where to put the hours when you can,
Right.
because sometimes you don't have a choice and you have to be somewhere, and that's great for work and everything too. But
Mm-hmm.
and I suppose for me, for so long, I didn't have the freedom to do that when initially I went out to the States on an O1 visa,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got my green card. But still, with all of this, I was physically required to be in the States for 6 months periods
Mm-hmm.
at a time
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And yeah, so um it's good to have the freedom,
Mm-hmm.
and to be global now, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the technology to be able to talk to you from Spain and do a podcast. I mean, just, 15 years ago or so, that was like a new frontier, and now it's just kind of the normal thing. And
Yeah.
how do you think that that's affected you audition wise when the audition process? Because now everybody's doing taped auditions, which I find fine for the initial overall. If you just, I work with casting directors and producers, and none of us wants to go through the cattle call thing. So it's really nice when you can kind of see a person's performance on camera. But then after I've decided, I might really want to work with that person in this role, I want to see them as quickly as possible. But when it's in your situation where you're not in the Los Angeles area, it takes a lot of personality and a lot of something special to really get through. And you did right away. So that's, I'm always smiling when I talk to you because,
Hey.
first of all, for my listeners, Claire is just drop dead gorgeous. She's so beautiful. But she's also, her personality, as you're starting to hear here, she just kind of, it just comes out. And I just said, okay, we want her. So anyway, that's
Oh, well, I mean, thank you. That's very kind. Well, and I remember I was even further away. I was in Bali when
oh,
I
that's right. Yeah.
auditioned for
Hmm.
Monkey Grip, and when we had our first video call afterwards. And I mean, personally, for me, I really I really like self tapes, at
Hmm.
least as you said initially,
Hmm.
because they do it means that you're not missing out on opportunities, and you can be considered in the mix. And then of course I love to travel, so I'm more than happy to get on a plane and fly wherever I need to be.
Right.
And also, I guess from a practical level, it's just nice. I remember when I moved to LA straight out of university, and I had no clue what I was getting myself into. I essentially learned how to drive in LA. My dad had given me a few lessons, like the summer before I moved there. Um, I finished my degree in drama, and then I was waiting on my visa to physically come through.
Hmm.
So I got a student job. My dad is a scientist, and he worked at a place called Tara Mines, this big lead and zinc mine
Uh-huh.
in County Meath. So I got a job at the mine before I went out to LA. And every lunchtime, they even gave me like steel-toed boots and a hard hat and everything. I I was working in health and safety, which was probably a bad idea, whoever gave me that job too. The most clumsiest person. But anyway, every lunchtime, my dad would give me a driving lesson. And that was very colorful, as you can imagine, because it's
That's great.
all manual driving in Ireland, or at least it was back
Right,
then. So it was
right.
like clutch and brake, and we were killing each other in the car. But then when I moved to LA, you just had to get on the huge, well, how many lanes are they? Like six, 8 lanes.
Freeways, yeah.
Oh my God, I had such a pit in my stomach the
Yeah.
first time after my driving test. But I mean, that was just the way that it was. And you had to drive around to all your auditions maybe like three different auditions in different parts of the city, Santa Monica, Hollywood.
Yeah.
Pack your car, your outfits for each one, your food, your gas. And that was a lot, So and that was just the only way it was. So I think self-tapes are quite a treat after all of that. But then again, I mean, it was very exciting back then too,
Right.
when I used to have a pit in my stomach driving around.
You get used to it pretty soon, but yeah, LA is
Yeah.
just a nightmare even for people who learn to drive in the States. And it's good you learned on a stick shift because, even though that was the only thing your dad had to teach you on, it's still a good thing that you learned. And then again, we go
Yeah.
back to the support of the family. And gee, what a great memory of I'm sure it was stressful and you guys were at each other's throats, but now you look back on it and your dad taught you to drive. That's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, and I did end up switching to when I got my cool car in LA. I wanted to
Automatic.
get no, no, no. Well, I got it automatic first, but then later I got an old
Ah,
vintage Jeep Wrangler, and it was stick shift, and everyone's
wow.
like, "Ooh, you're so cool! You drive a stick." So
Nice.
I had extra street cred then,
Yeah,
thanks to.
I did a movie called Vertical, and there was the lead character, the lead actress had to drive a stick, and I was auditioning, and every actress I asked, have you ever driven a stick? And they all said no, and I'm going, oh great, we're going to have to teach her how to do. And then the one that I ended up choosing, I didn't choose her because of this, but she walked in, and I said, can you drive a 4-speed manual transmission? She goes, oh yeah, I can. I used to drive my dad's truck, and I went, there you go, smart.
There you go. It's a special skill on the resume in
Yeah.
LA, actually.
And also because in the UK and well where you grew up, everything's on the other side, so you've not only got to learn to shift, it's the
Yeah.
other hand. It's kind of weird. So when I lived in the UK, I never drove in London. It was like there were just enough black cabs around. This was
Oh
before,
gosh, yeah.
yeah, this was before Uber, but black cabs were everywhere. I never drove in LA, but when I moved up to Wales, I learned to drive just so I wouldn't be so isolated. And yeah, it was kind of tricky to learn, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, did you ever go on the wrong side of the road or the right?
the
No.
first week or so, I'd find myself not really going on the wrong side of the road, except when I'd pull out of my driveway. We lived in this big. I was in a band, and all of the bandmates and the roadies lived in this 16th century converted fishing lodge, right? And
Oh,
so it
amazing.
was in the middle of nowhere, right on the Avongo, right on the River Wye. And
Wow.
I'd pull out from the estate. Through the big entryway, of all those big estate houses had these big
Yeah.
brick or stone entryways, and I'd pull out, and I'd always be on the wrong side of the road every single time. But I
You
did,
were safe enough out there in the wilderness, at
yeah,
least.
nobody ever came by and almost hit me. I got used to it after a while, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was tricky. How do we get off on that? I'm sorry. I'm going to get back to the interview. I like to start all of my interviews, as you know from listening to a couple of the podcasts. I like to give my listeners a chance to, get a little background info on my guests. So, if you don't mind, just give us kind of the condensed version of your beginnings in Ireland, your education, both in general and your acting training. You mentioned you were originally from County Meath, if I'm not mistaken. I've been to Dublin many, many times, but never much further north than that. So, yeah, if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of the story of Claire Birmingham.
Sure. So yes, I was born in Dublin, grew up in County Meath. My parents, my dad's from County Wicklow and my mom's from County Wexford, so they're actually south of Dublin. But
Hmm.
I grew up in Meath because my dad, we were based there because of the good old mines,
Hmm.
and so in a town called Navan, which actually James Bond is from there. Well, one of them, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh.
So me and Pierce representing
Right.
for Navan, and so yeah, I grew up there, and I started with acting. I started at 4 at speech and drama actually. So it's something I've been doing all my life. My mom was trying to get my brother to go to speech and drama classes because he was a little tyrant and she needed to distract him somehow. And I asked what you did there, and she said you make funny faces. So I said, well, I want to go. And actually, the class we were supposed to be 5 to start, but I showed up and bullied my way in, and that was the end of that. So and then I well, then when we had a stage school come to town, like for musical theater, I joined that when I was about 12, and I loved that. And I always wanted to do acting and singing, dancing, not my forte, but you have to do a bit of that in the musical theater.
Hmm.
And so I was really passionate about that. And one of my first jobs actually was singing on the Irish cruise ships, doing the musical theater shows. And
Right.
the Spotlight Stage School was the stage school I went to, and it was great. And they were so encouraging. I think, especially, I mean, it's very different to America, but that really instilled a love of all of the arts. And then I knew I wanted to study, I knew I wanted to train professionally in college. Um, so I studied drama at Trinity College in Dublin, and then it was in my third year that I won a scholarship to the University of California. So that was amazing because I had never been to America before, and I got to choose a school in the University of California. So I actually chose UC Irvine, because, well, UCLA weren't allowing foreign students to come do any of the practical courses, so that would have been dull. And then UCI had this amazing musical theater program, which I was so interested in at the time. And also, that show, The OC, was really big at the time. So I was
All
like, oh my
right.
God, I can live in Newport Beach and I can be going to school doing acting and musical theater. So that was my first introduction to America, even though it was probably not very, it was very cookie cutter. I had a blue bicycle and I lived on the peninsula, and it was incredible. And the experiences at the school there was amazing. That was very eye-opening actually, because I remember they had like audition week the first week for the all the different graduate productions. And I remember walking in, it was like Fame, the girls had their legs up behind their heads and they
Mm.
were all amazing and so confident. And Irish people are kind of self-deprecating by nature, so we play down our talents or whatever, but it was just like move over, um, and and then also they had an amazing program you could audition for, where they had a satellite program to go to train with the Broadway professionals. So I was lucky enough to take part in that as well, and it really just gave me such a it was such a level up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is entertainment, this is the industry on another level.
Hmm.
And so it was during that year that I decided I wanted to start my career in LA. And I didn't dabble too much, I didn't go into Hollywood too much because it's so different, even though it's only like an hour away or what, it's very different. I
Right.
only went in there once or twice, but I decided I wanted to start there because I figured, LA is a town that favors the young, and if you're going to do it, you may as well jump straight in. And
Yeah.
then it was one of my professors there that said, well, you really are going to have to look into the paper side of things, because I don't think it's too simple.
Hmm.
And so I had to go back to Ireland to finish my degree. And then I probably spent more time in my fourth year researching this O1 visa than I did on my final projects.
Hmm.
And that was pretty crazy because, if you go on USCIS website, the examples they will give, a Academy Award and a BAFTA that all your lovely friends seem to have.
Yeah, yeah, they want so much for you to get a visa to work in the States. Like, well, you have to have 2 Emmys. Well, how do I get an Emmy if I don't work in the States? And how do I work in the States if I don't have an Emmy? It's weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
there's a lot of that, and it's quite intimidating, the process, and a lot of people told me that it wouldn't happen, and
Mm,
I forget about it, and I'm quite a dogged person, so if I decide I want to do something, I will try everything that I can to make it happen.
mm-hmm.
So I found a firm to that thought that I had a strong case, and I was just coming from all theater at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, and that was, of course, you can imagine. My dad was a scientist, my mom was an elementary school teacher, so they're like, oh, why does she want to be an actor? Very supportive, but they're like anything else. And then I'm like, I want to go to America, and
Right.
but again, they were super supportive. That was the deal, though. We had a deal that if I got the grades to do um, anything like medicine or
Uh,
law, then
right.
I could do whatever I wanted. So I did I delivered on my side of that grades wise, and they were like, okay, you can be an actor. Um,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, so I worked with this law firm and got the visa, and I had finished I had graduated college, but the graduation ceremony I didn't even walk in it because once the visa comes, it already has like a time stamp on it, and the
Uh-huh.
O1 has 3 years initially. And kind of funny actually, in one of our drama and one of our acting classes, there's this big campanile in Trinity College in the main square. And there's a superstition that if you walk under the campanile before you are finished your studies, you won't graduate. And one time we were given an exercise, it was very like woo woo drama school, like you have to take your chair and befriend it and put it in like different situations on campus. So I took mine under the campanile, and everyone said, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that." And funnily enough, I didn't ever end up walking in my graduation because as soon as my visa came, I was on that plane to LA,
Mm-hmm.
and which when I look back on it now, was so crazy because I mean, I grew up probably more in my first year in LA than I'd say 7 years before that. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have a job. I didn't have,
Right.
I was just going, and I had my visa, and I had, my few contacts from college, and I was going to figure it out. And so that was my goal. I remember I arrived in October, and I said, okay, by Christmas I will like get signed and be in the Screen Actors Guild, and I did achieve that. And I
That's
think like
insane. In two
it's so
months.
yeah, and but because it's so, I think because there's like it's like a ticking clock, and I suppose maybe people don't even realize the amount of, I mean, my visa case was like I said, it was bigger than my college thesis. It was this huge fat binder full of everything and
Mm-hmm.
anything I'd ever done, of
Mm-hmm.
evidence and reference letters and everything. And so when I got to LA, it just, I was so aware that I had worked so hard to get there, and also there was a time limit on me.
Mm-hmm.
So um, if I didn't achieve things, and obviously you can't, there's only so much you can control, but anything that I could do, I was going to do it. In order to, because my lawyer had told me, your visa's 3 years, and by the end of year two, we should be working towards your green card. And I did. I applied for my green card under an alien of extraordinary ability, which is a great title.
Right.
And I got my green card on the first application. And that was actually then how America started, because my dear old dad, it was actually his idea too. He said, you had so much you were up against so much so many people saying so much naysaying, and now you've achieved it, so you should break it down and sort of demystify it and help other people
Hmm.
understand how to do it, and that it's possible too, because I'm not famous, I don't have an Academy Award or BAFTA yet, and it's possible, so that was how that was born. And then yeah, a few years after that I took my citizenship. So that was a very long answer to your question. Sorry.
No, it's amazing because I don't believe in luck. I think luck is just being prepared for opportunities is what luck is for me, and that's what you've done. You just put your head down and you just go through walls that you need to go through, and a lot of people just get discouraged. And I think one of the things I'm hearing from your story is you never allowed yourself to get discouraged. And it is pretty amazing that, people will tell you, oh, forget it, you'll never get your green card. And I've helped, I don't know how many people from the UK especially get their O1 visas, and it's just, and you do it by, I'm a director with enough credits that I can put down, I'm going to work with this person, and they're able to get a long ways if people know this is a legitimate actor, and they do have work when they get there. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's very
Yeah,
cool.
that's amazing.
You've worked on both sides of the Atlantic, of course. Do you find there's a crew or producing style different in between, let's say, London or Dublin or the U.S.? I'd imagine there must be differences between working, let's say, in Ireland and the U.K. than there are in the States, but I don't know, maybe not that many. What have you found?
I think not too many differences. I haven't actually worked in London, so I can't speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
But on Irish productions, or and ones that Harry Wilde is also with the associated with the British company.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see too many differences. The weather, maybe.
Yeah, I've worked.
Weather would be one when you're freezing, a good old hot water bottle and
Yeah.
whatnot, as opposed to California. But it's pretty cool. Like it's exciting even in the last few years. Ireland has a really really good tax incentive for the shooting. It's
Mm-hmm.
32%.
Right.
We're seeing like lots of American companies and productions coming to shoot in Ireland. So, but I think no, I can't say there's anything major that stands out to me other
Well,
than
I
the
know it's
weather.
cheaper. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Rob Lowe has a game show, and they fly Americans into Ireland where they shoot the show. It's all Irish audiences, but the contestants, because it's aimed at an American audience, the contestants are all flown in from the States to
No
shoot
way.
in
I
Ireland.
didn't realize that the contestants were flown in. A
Yeah.
good friend of mine actually styles Rob for that show, but
Is that right? Yeah, what I'd heard is that there's a whole lot of American contestants that are flown in because it's still cheaper to pay for first class round trip tickets than it is to.
that's crazy. I
Uh,
did not know that. I'll have to get the inside
yeah,
scoop
I
on
saw him interviewed, and he said it's cheaper to shoot there, to shoot a whole game show, than it is to walk a crew across the Paramount lot in Hollywood. And I went, wow, that's
Wow. Oh, we love
amazing.
Rob Lowe.
Yeah, and that's what I noticed. I shot a film in London. We were in all
Yeah.
these different boroughs, and it's funny, each one, like Westminster and Soho, they all have their own film commissions. So you think, oh, what a nightmare this is going to be, but it's not. They make it so easy to film.
Mm,
We were shooting downtown. I mean, we were shooting in in Soho and in the Piccadilly area, and it was like, okay, they gave us these signs to put up on these little easels. If you walk through here, you might be filmed, and that was it. It was like there was no real control of the set. There was no like, just how do you control it? Well, you just make sure the actors are not intimidated, and we did we did a scene coming out of a tube station onto the main road, and then a little conversation, then they'd split. And so,
Yeah.
but you've got the double-decker buses in the background. You have to really watch for the edit because there's so much going on. But what's fun,
Yeah, of course.
the production value is insane because oh, how did they shut down the streets in that part of London? And we didn't. We just kind of just started.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like guerrilla style on another level.
It is, yeah. It's funny, but it worked out, and nobody was really. I mean, a couple of times people would look at the camera, but mostly everybody just minds their own business and moves along, and it worked out great. I can't remember. We were just talking about you auditioning, but I can't remember how that came about. How did I find you, or how did my production company come to find you? And how did we become connected? I just don't remember how you first came to our attention.
Well, I think it was kind of like across there was a cross reference. So because I know, but I think the funniest version of it is that I met Emrys, who is acting in the film,
Right, Emrys Cooper, right.
um, at Pride in Seychelles last year, and I just thought he was so fabulous, and so he and I were chatting, and we actually met at a Backstreet Boys tribute concert,
Right.
which was wonderful. And then I had received I got an email from your side of things then too, and you guys had been looking for an Irish actress, and then Emrys had recommended me as well. So there was
Right.
that cross reference.
Right.
So that is yeah. I thank the Backstreet Boys.
Every small town has that one special spot, a place where strangers become friends and friends share great times together. Idlewild, California has just that spot, Terrence Place Pub and Gallery, where live music and good company create amazing memories. We feature fine wines along with international and domestic tap beers. Our vibe is welcoming, fun, and eclectic. Terrence Place Pub and Gallery is proud to be an official sponsor of the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. Come and experience the alpine charm of Terrence Place, located in a village lane in downtown Idlewild, California. We invite you to stop by and have a great time.
Idlewild isn't just a scenic mountain town, it's a living gallery. The Art Alliance of Idlewild supports local artists, funds youth art programs, and hosts world-class events that turn our town into an art lover's destination. Become a member, attend an event, or donate to support the arts. Follow us on Instagram at Art Alliance of Idlewild, or visit artinidlewild.org and be part of our creative community.
Emrys is such a dude's dude, He's just so great he could play anything. So when I was looking at the role of Danny Black, I'm looking for, it was just like with you, looking for a British actor who was kind of had all his legalities worked out to work in the States and could ride a motorcycle. And that guy just came along, and it's like, what the heck? He walked up to me at the Idlewild Film Festival one year, and he said, I've heard about you. I want to introduce myself. Oh, yeah, I have a place here. And I go, what's a British actor doing with a place in Idlewild? He's just, everything about him is an anomaly, But he can
He's
fit.
so stunning and charming.
Yeah,
and
but he can fit.
gent as well. But
can
I'm
fit
so
anything.
excited to see him as Danny Black as well.
Yeah. But I mean, if I was doing a Western, I always tell him, if the next Western I do, you're in it. He just has that look, He just has the look.
That hair, that jawline.
Yeah. It's just like any woman would swoon over this guy. And so if you need a
Well,
romantic...
that's how we met. I was swooning over him.
If you need a romantic lead, this is the guy. If you need a slick gangster biker, he's your guy.
He's your guy.
Yeah,
I know. Actually, he had posted something on Instagram the other day. It was are you familiar with the Sugar Babes, Stephen?
Yes.
The British band. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it was him in one of the music videos. I was like, oh, that was you, because I would have been just a teenager,
Yeah.
all enamored with the romantic lead, and I was like, oh my God, now I know you.
Yeah. He's such a whole package, He's just so
Oh,
when we said there is no luck, there's just, being prepared for opportunity. He's got all the tools. Then I see him doing musical theater and stuff. What the hell? Is there
yeah,
anything
what a
this guy?
pirouette he has
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it's like, is there anything this guy can't do? And so anyway, he's probably going to listen to this and his head's going to swell, but that's okay.
Cheers, Tamers.
Yeah, he's just such a find, And then to remember now that you came through him in some obscure way, on some
Yeah.
level, is pretty cool. So this movie is one of those films that just seems like it's meant to be. So
I'm
anyway,
so excited, and the script is amazing. I'm
thanks.
so thrilled for us to get going. Yeah, it's so complex, the script. I'm not sure how many times I've read it now, and then each time I'm like, let me delve a little deeper in here.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, just a really complex and
And
really.
your character of Moya is such a little badass, and you get to ride motorcycles, and you do. It's just kind of cool. She's a
Yes, I'm so excited to embrace my badass side. So
yeah.
yeah,
In the
and
script, you have a femme fatale, like the character of Kelly is. Somebody who's very feminine in every way, and wouldn't dream. She's a toughie, but we find out that there's reasons why she has to act tough. But the character of Moya, which you play, she's just a straight out badass. That's great. I love it.
yeah, I think it's really refreshing to really dive into those roles as
Mhm.
well, because um especially and from my time in LA, there is a lot where you are kind of just boxed into that very feminine little corner, and so I'm excited to play. And I love that. I mean, I love that I'm playing an Irish character as well. An Irish badass is even
Right.
better. So I think it's just going to be so riveting to jump in. And I was thinking as well, I'm excited. I'm very excited to work with Judd, your stunts
Oh,
coordinator.
Judd Wild. Yeah, he's a crazy guy. I love working with him.
And I was thinking, I was like, what a pair, like Wild and Savage.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. Yeah, he's well. Most of the Australian dudes that I know are pretty crazy. I don't know why, but he's all of the Mad Max work that he's done and everything. I'm just really honored that he liked the script so much that he decided to come on and be stunt coordinator, because it's gonna be exciting working with him. Let's talk a little bit about some of your indie film work, especially you had a film in this past Idlewild Film Festival. Was it Red Lake? Is that what it was called?
yes,
Yeah,
Red Lake,
yeah.
and thank you very much for screening. So yeah, Red Lake is it's short film, but it was actually a proof of concept for
That's right. Yeah.
uh, a larger film or series, really, essentially. But so it basically centers around these two half sisters that are mourning the death of their father,
Hmm.
and they there is a lovely Irish mystical creature called the Coronach, who's a serpent monster
Right.
menacing the waters of the lake. It's set in Lough Derg, which is a real island in the middle of the island. It's another island,
Hmm.
which is actually a pilgrimage site,
Hmm.
and so it's set there. So yeah, and that film. So I co-wrote, produced, and acted in it, and actually, that was creating Red Lake. One of the main reasons for me was we started creating that in LA, actually, and I really wanted to start um making work in Ireland and having a reason to be there as well. As it happened in reality, it just kind of got yanked out of LA. when Dad passed, unfortunately, that was very sudden, and then COVID happened literally like directly after that. So actually we made Red Lake in the midst of pandemic as well. So it was such a fight to get that made. So I'm very, very proud of it actually. And it's directed by Sean Dunn, who's an amazing Irish director, and co-starring Hazel Dupe, who's actually she's the lead in, I don't know if you've watched Say Nothing, FX's
Yep.
Hulu's Say Nothing.
Right.
Amazing actress Hazel. And so that was like, it was very, very, very important for me to get that made because there was a lot of hurdles and obstacles. And also it was kind of like almost like it was very important for me to present and to prove myself as a filmmaker in Ireland because it was the first project that I was doing there on my return from LA. And not only was I acting in it, but also I was hiring everybody as well. And it did really, really well on the festival circuit. Idlewild, of course, being the most exciting. And
But you guys,
also,
I was wishing that you guys, because I don't have anything to do with the voting. I brought the film in because of you, and then I watched it myself. I have to admit, don't watch the movies until the festival time. I try to get as many in as I can, but
yeah, it's a lot.
I was hoping you guys would have won some awards and stuff. But at Idlewild, because it's so attendance based voting, and it's hard to win if you can't show up. But I was just glad that you guys were able to get the film in.
Yeah, and I was so excited to have it there. And I think knowing that we were going to be working together, and for me, I find I'm so inspired, and I'm so excited to be on your set because for me with creating work and producing work, this is new to me, and I have a feature film, New Moons, that I've spoken to you about. That's
Right.
set in Bali, and that's my goal now is to get my first feature made, but it's a beast,
Right.
of a challenge. And of course, it wouldn't be like me if it wasn't a big challenge. I wouldn't take it on. But I'm so inspired to learn from you, and I'll be picking your brain, probably annoying you like a little mosquito, like always wanting to learn and know, but because it's such a vast I mean, literally such a production, and also I'm beginning to learn. It's a Jenga pile too, so many moving parts and pieces, and with
It's
the finance.
ambitious. Monkey Grip's ambitious.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and I mean, I think, but that's amazing, and I like it's so exciting, and yeah, I'm so thrilled to be a part of it, and to learn from you and from everybody in your team while we're on the set.
It's funny when you say that because you were saying you watched my film Cosmic Radio the other night, and
Yeah.
there was Leslie Patterson, who we talked about earlier, who, she did All Quiet on the Western Front and won all those Oscars. But that was her first real bigger movie. And she would do the same thing. She was an actress in it, but she was following me around, following the producers around. And she learned her craft with that movie. The same with my friend Cassie J, who went on to become an amazing documentary filmmaker. Her film The Red Pill was banned in parts of Canada and Australia and New Zealand, which she said was the best thing that could happen to her.
All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, that's right. And those two both started on that movie as very young actresses, and they were there to act, but they were also there to learn. And I look at them now and go, Jesus Christ, I had no idea that these two would become what they are. So I think what you're saying is real filmmakers, actors will absorb everything they can. They'll be on set as often as they can, and it's more than just an acting gig if you're really serious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leslie she still had her lovely Scottish accent too,
Yeah.
fellow.
Yeah, she was. I really had so much fun. Just we'd known each other for a while before then, and when that movie came along, where there was actually some investment coming in from Hollywood, we were just so thrilled for each other, and she was my biggest fan, And I said, well, when she started thinking about doing All Quiet on the Western Front 10 years before she actually got it made through Netflix, I would call her all the time and just say, hang in there. And she goes, I'm not going anywhere. And what happened was, when 1917 came along, that World War I movie, everybody wanted to do a World War I movie. They all said, Hollywood all went, well, let's do All Quiet on the Western Front. And then they looked at who owns the rights to it, and it was this little Scottish girl who was this little powerhouse, because people, they don't know Leslie, and she's a 5-time Ironman triathlete world champion. she's a go-getter. And so that was funny. So they had to go through her to get the rights to it, and she said, well, I'm going to write it if you want it. I don't have to direct it, I don't have to produce it, I'll just write it. And she did end up producing, but it was her script. And so it's perseverance, man. I just think that's the main thing.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And resilience is everything, isn't it? And it can be so hard sometimes. It's like the diamond. I'm going back to the mines again. Wow, I'm really, really, really going for these mine analogies. But
That's all right.
I'm thinking of, I don't normally do this, but where the miner, the diamond is right in front of him, but he can't see. And you can, if you had the cutout view, you could see how far he's dug and how close he is. And it is so important to keep the faith and the resilience. And especially, I learned that in LA, it's so fast paced, and it's so tough, and everybody wants to do the same thing. And so it's really inspiring to hear that.
Well, that's part of your Access America organization. I mean, that's just the main thing. I think your job is just to tell people not to give up. And things are hard. Getting a visa, it's impossible. Well, you're proof it's not. And getting into SAG, that's impossible. No, you're proof. So you're like a walking little inspirational portal for people. It's pretty cool.
Now I'm trying to keep going. Like I said, now I'm trying to make my first feature, and I'm like, how do I do it? How do I get the money?
Right. Well, in the meantime, I get to use you in my feature film, so that's good. It's a win-win for me.
I'm available.
Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of the Stephen Savage Show. But before I let you go, Claire, tell us how one can find out more about you and what you're up to and your organization. Is there a website, or is IMDb the best place to see what you're up to? Or you're very active on social media? Is it Instagram? What would you like to push?
So Instagram is Birmingham Claire, BER. And for Access America, the website is accessamericaofficial.com.
Fantastic. You're amazing. I'm so looking forward to working with you. Just can't even tell you, this is going to be so much fun. And you're on set a lot of days. You've got a huge role, so I'm grateful.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm in the gym training. I'm here for it, Stephen. I'm ready. Yeah. And thank you so much for having me on today, and thank you so much for having me as part of Monkey Grip. And I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled to be here and to be working with you. I can't wait.
Fantastic. And there you go, everybody. Another episode of the Stephen Savage Show under our belts. I want to thank everyone for listening in, for spreading the word about the show, which has been vital to increasing our listenership and our downloads on a daily basis on every project. You've taken us into the thousands of downloads every week, and we're proud about that. And everyone at the Savage Podcasting Network truly appreciate it. And of course, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. So for my producer and filmmaking sidekick, Nicole Hughes, engineer Maurice Sudo, the entire Savage Podcasting Network team, as well as for the lovely and talented Claire Bermingham, and myself, thank you for listening in, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, Claire.
Thanks. Bye.